But you know what? You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if in the future Bond movies, because in the old Bond movies, James Bond actually had an office. He had a desk. In the movie On Her Majesty's Secret Service, there's a scene where Bond is supposedly left MI6, and he gets his stuff out of the office, and all the different items are different references from previous Bond movies. I wouldn't be surprised if they go if Bond somehow gets an office and he has they bring the bulldog back somehow, and also reference to other stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that again.
I thought that little thing was cute. It's a cute little bulldog with the British flag. It's adorable. Yes.
It does make sense. That basically describes M's character, the Judi Dench M, in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm. I love how it survived the explosion of the original headquarters. But even Bond is so the entirety of headquarters gets blown up, and that thing somehow still survives.
Oh boy.
Oh, there's actually another character I wanted to talk about. I know he only appears at the end and for just for the climax, but I actually found him really funny. Is Albert Finney's character?
Oh.
I forgot his name.
Yeah, I forgot his name. Yes.
But he's supposed sorry.
He was the caretaker for James. Kind of like.
Yeah, towards the end they go back.
Kind of like Alfred the. God damn it! It goes back to the Dark Knight again.
But the climax of the movie takes place at this mansion called Skyfall, hence the title, and it's supposed to be where Bond grew up as a kid. And it turns out that his old housekeeper is still alive and still there. Being pretty much the sole owner of the mansion since Bond was presumed dead. Mm-hmm. And I guess he was thrown in there, kind of to make it so that Bond wasn't just, it wasn't just him fighting. I mean, true, M just does try to help him out, but, she's really not the combative type. She herself even admits she's a lousy shot, so I guess he's there sort of to be his right-hand man, and he's kind of like the grizzled old Scotsman who has a shotgun, and, he swears and everything, and it's pretty awesome.
Yes.
And actually, from what I read online, that part originally was supposed to go to Sean Connery, as a sort of nod to, him being James, the original Bond.
I could see that. I guess I could see that, but, I mean, that would be kind of weird, somewhat.
Possibly. Well, I knew that would never happen, because Sean Connery's pretty much done with movies at this point. But
yeah, I think Sean Connery did say he was retiring. I think he said he retired a few years ago.
Yeah, trust me, he's been ashore with many films. I know he's never going to do another film again. Not after League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. But Albert Finney, for the brief time his character was there, I mean, he was pretty awesome. He doesn't even have to be a part of this conflict, but he insists upon it.
Oh yeah.
If only because there's these bad guys come in to wreak havoc at his home, so points to him for loyalty.
I love it how they set up the house as home. I think either you or Doug said this. Almost set up it's Home Alone, with all the different traps.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Because the thing is, at one point they look around to see for any sort of ammunition or weapons and stuff, because apparently they did have a gun collection, but it was auctioned off, and the only thing that they really have was his father's old hunting rifle, and I guess the guy had his own rifle as well. So obviously they need to improvise, so they take a bunch of old shotgun shells and some broken glass. And they makeshift their own bombs, which they hang from the chandelier and under their floorboards and everything, and I'm like, holy shit, this just turned into Home Alone. Except way more deadly.
And way more awesome.
Yes.
Because of explosions.
Michael Bay probably orgasmed during that one scene.
But there's one thing that does kind of bug me with that one scene. Okay, then a helicopter comes. I mean, yeah, it's a cargo helicopter. I'm just sitting there going, why couldn't they have a rocket and just blow up the house? Why couldn't they get a helicopter with equipped with rockets on there and just blow up the house? Or why couldn't the guy carry a rocket launcher and just blow up the house?
I guess the weapons budget ran out. That would have.
That's the one thing that did kind of bug me. It's like, why they had a helicopter? Why couldn't they just blow up the house?
Yeah, they kind of just resort to using like machine guns and makeshift bombs. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like anything. It wasn't like no rocket launcher or anything. I guess the movie would have been over a lot sooner if that had happened. One thing that kind of confused me though is like why MI6 never sent any backup.
Well, they didn't want, I guess because they didn't want the whole world to know. They didn't want, because they're afraid that, they were trying to keep it under wraps. They wanted to keep, first off, it's MI6. They're a secret
That didn't stop them in the beginning when they were chasing bad guys and shooting guns off all through a populated bazaar.
Oh, do you know how many Bond movies where they actually have chase sequences through, like, bazaars and... in the streets, like that. I mean, there's a chase sequence in like St. Petersburg in GoldenEye. Yeah, I keep going back to GoldenEye, but there's a chase sequence in like St. Petersburg. There's this massive boat chase in Live and Let Die. There was an awesome boat chase in like Moonraker in like on the rivers of Venice, where like the boat comes up and just like all of a sudden it goes into the streets. Like you just see Bond just driving around and they're playing all this like this classical music as he's going around like the sidewalks of Venice. So, yes, it seems like over the top, for a secret agent, but this is something that's always been done in like every single Bond movie. That's one thing you have to take into consideration at least.
I guess. I just mean like they could have played it off like, oh, they were tracking the bad guys and they, tracked them to this location and thus showed up when the guys when they actually needed help. I mean, you think that somebody in the in MI6 would be looking for M. I mean, considering that, she never came back after that whole courtroom shooting, mm-hmm. So you think, like, even if they were, only Q and I guess Mallory was, like, keeping it under wraps, like, somebody else in, like, the whole place probably would have tried to send out someone to look for her, and I mean, Bond even told them to, like, leave a trail of breadcrumbs for them to follow. I mean, you'd think someone from MI6 would, like, follow it as well. So, I just know. I guess they wanted to make it more epic. It's like, oh, it's only these 3 people going against all these people. Yes. And it is pretty badass, I'll admit.
It is.
And one thing I gotta say, though, I'm a bit disappointed by Judi Dench's, like, end.
Oh, like how she... Oh.
Yeah, like how she dies and everything. Because, I mean... You think for a character that's been around for, like, 6 movies, she'd have some sort of, like, awesome way to go out. Sort of like, like she delivered the final blow just as she got injured or something. But, no, she gets injured while the house is being attacked, and she slowly bleeds to death. And then even after, like, Bond saves her from being shot in the head by the bad guy, she still dies, like, in his arms. So
yeah. But it was still kind of sad.
Yeah, I know. I just figured, there'd be a little bit more of a epic, like,
I know.
than that.
Yeah, but to me, it was like, wait, after all that, she still dies?
Yeah, because I mean, you think, like, because in a way, she's kind of like an old dog who's, like, slowly, dying from a disease or something, or slowly dying. Like I said, she slowly died from her injury. It's not like, she shot someone, then got shot in return, and then while, the guy did die, she, like, had an epic, like, I got him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was rather touching, though, her final goodbye to Bond. Like, she kind of just looks at him and he's like, at least I did something right.
Yeah.
So, and you see Bond generally get upset when she dies, so that was really touching.
Yeah. I know, seeing Bond get upset for that, and it's like, seeing that kind of emotion, which we haven't really seen since Casino Royale, per se, because in Casino Royale, where the main Bond girl, dies, drowns, and he's just like, no, don't die, because he falls in love with her, and then he gets, and that was kind of sad too. There's sad moments.
I know, sad moments in a Bond film. Who'd have thought? I mean, you think after all these years he'd be used to just people around him dying, but it's nice to see that they still have, like, they still can inject that bit of humanity into Bond, at least, make him sympathetic.
And that's what it goes back to. It goes back to that I mean, the character has really evolved. He's become a lot more sympathetic. He's become a lot more. I mean, he's a lot more human than when John Lazenby was Bond. And I kind of like this. So, I mean, I know there's a friend of ours who, you know, I know she saw Goldfinger and, you know, said, "Oh, Bond's a sexist pig." But no, if she saw this movie, she thought she was seeing like two different movies. She thought she was not seeing a Bond movie.
Yeah, I mean, true, like, the original Bond was kind of a misogynist, because, I mean, every woman that was ever shown was either A, you know, someone for him to have sex with, or B, a femme fatale who would help do him in, or at least try to, anyway. And in this movie, you have three female characters, one who's his boss, and she's like a powerhouse, both in terms of her role and her acting ability. And true, she's kind of like the mother figure, but at the same time, you know, you see that they are on, like, sort of an equal level in terms of intelligence and wits and everything. And then you have that one female agent, what was her name, Eve?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you have Eve, who, again, she kind of is on the same level as him, but she's kind of his junior, but you see that she is capable, and, you know, she can hold her own in a fight, and she did save him at one point, even if she did actually almost kill him at the beginning. And then, of course, you have the sort of throwaway, you know, sex objects, you know, the femme fatale. I forgot what her name was.
But even she was sympathetic at some point. I mean, they gave her the tragic backstory that she was like this. She was born into slavery, and, you know,
at least she wasn't
sex trade all her life.
Yeah, I mean, at least she wasn't like that character from Die Another Day. You know, where, like, she's stone cold and, like, she hates Bond, but she can't help but be attracted to him, and then she has sex with him, and then she's like, haha, I was a bad guy all along, and I'm gonna kill you for real. So in this case, you know, like, you actually do see a bit of fear in this particular woman's face, you know, that she doesn't really want to do this. You know, if anything, she wants to just disappear and, like, live quietly, and unfortunately that never happens. But,
no, tragically, but...
Yeah. And, hey, at least she and Bond actually did have some chemistry, though.
Yes.
You know, with talking and everything. And at first you see her trying to, like, sort of seduce him and stuff. And then you see her appeal to him. And then he actually catches her in a vulnerable state in the shower. And true, while any normal woman would probably scream rape or something, like, she accepts it. And it actually is, like, a sort of like, sexy scene, in my opinion. Because, like, it's implied that they have sex, but they don't actually do. And I kind of like that, you know, because, like, subtlety is always good.
Yes.
And in Bond films, it's kind of needed sometimes.
When it works the right way.